The Bug Bux Podcast!
Sometimes it feels like the bug guy doesn't matter. Sometimes we feel like what we do doesn't matter. We don't always need to be patting ourselves on the back, although I would recommend that we do so more than we currently do. As human beings, we naturally just beat ourselves up. But here's when it matters, is during those days when things aren't going right. Like today, for Proof Pest Control, a technician got in an accident. Everyone was safe, no one was injured, thankfully. That's always the first question, but it's still not an awesome experience. Or when you have to let somebody go because a job is no longer needed. You have a customer that is just ripping you online. Those are tough days. And so even though people are saying those things and doing those things, what we do matters. I'm going to tell you who it matters to. And remember that, especially if you have children, a spouse, those people that rely on you to provide for them. So that's the financial aspect. That's obvious, of course, but it's more than that, because it matters to them in a way that they're proud of you. You're setting an example. You're going for it, right? You quit your job. The perpetual saying is that, hey, I didn't choose pest control. It chose me. Before this position, you were working for somebody else and you kind of took that risk. So those people that are around you, your family specifically, what you're doing right now, it matters to them. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bug Bux Podcast. I'm Allan Draper. Happy to be with you. Thank you for your time. Today I'm flying solo. It's just past mid-May. I'm actually not sure when this episode is going to launch, but have some things on my mind. This might come out a little scatterbrained, but I think if you listen for things that I say that sound familiar to you or that resonate with you as a pest control owner, I think it'll help you. And I think it will help you as a business owner, as a parent, as a business partner, as an employer, as a just individual who's trying to do something that matters, something that means something. I was just conducting our weekly Q&A in our school group, our Bug Bux Plus group. By the way, you should check that out. I think if you just go to school and search Bug Bux, B-U-G-B-U-X, you'll find it. It's all over within our Facebook group also. And if you're not part of our Facebook group, make sure to go there and join that. That's also B-U-G-B-U-X, just in Facebook. You'll find our group there. But we were doing a Q&A, and what's interesting is that the Q&A was just about marketing. We were going through an individual's company and looking at his marketing expenses, and it's a very impressive company. He's grown it very well, has a healthy bottom line, is going to add 48%, I think we said, to the top line this year. Does millions and millions in revenue, just very impressive. And we were talking about how much he should be spending on marketing. And then we started talking about how, well, it depends on what your goals are, whether you should be spending 30% on marketing or 3% or nothing. And he has some really healthy and large growth goals. So then we started talking about, well, what are your goals and why are they what they are? We kind of wrapped up the session. We did all this in 30 minutes. We went a little over, but for me, the Bug Bux Plus community is about connection and us just relying on each other. We have people in there doing over $20 million in annual revenue. We have people that are probably under $100,000 in annual revenue. And what's interesting is that we're still able to connect with each other and understand one another. And I think a lot of it is because no matter the size of your company, a lot of the problems that you have, they're the same or they're similar. They change in magnitude a little bit. Maybe more than that is the similarity in how things feel. How things feel when they're going right, when you're hitting your numbers, you're growing faster than you expected, you're developing relationships with the people that you lead, you're hiring incredible people. And then on the flip side of it, when things are not going well, when you're having arguments with your business partners, or your expectations or goals were much higher than your capacity, and what that feels like. As I was wrapping up this particular session, I wanted them to know a couple of things. And the first thing that I said was that what they do matters. And you've probably heard me say this before. Because of the nature of our business, and because of the nature of any business, sometimes it feels like what we do doesn't matter. We have employees that sometimes don't want to do the best job, sometimes want to leave early. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. But as employers, and business owners, we're left a little confused thinking, wait, why don't they want to do a good job? Like, obviously there's something wrong with that, but why? And a lot of times we'll take it as a personal attack. And it's like, oh, like, maybe they don't like me. Maybe they don't like the business. But that reminder that what we're doing matters, it needs to happen frequently. It doesn't happen enough. Because I don't know about you, but when I tell people I'm a bug guy, I never hear them like shout for joy or get excited. In fact, it usually is a great way to end a conversation. I've told this story before, but I went to this fund conference where the people that were attending are putting together investment funds of different types. And people would ask what I do, and I would tell them, well, I own a pest control company. And it was funny because they would immediately it would make them a little uncomfortable because they didn't know what to do with that. And I could tell that it was, not on their list of top businesses, I should say. And I took it with a grain of salt. Because I get it. From the outside world, we're not the most glamorous industry. And a lot of it's because people don't understand pest control, and they don't understand the value in it, and they don't understand the depth and the significance of the problems that we're solving, and the complexity of building a home service business and scaling it and doing it well, and setting up systems where you're employing people that love what they do. I feel like that's a lot tougher in our industry than, if I owned, for example, a clothing shop, and I just, hired people that love that type of clothing, or I started a gym. If you go to the gym, you'll realize how bad their turnover is. At least where I live, I feel like I rarely see the same person twice. You'll have managers that stick around and maybe some trainers, but the people at the front desk, and part of that is because of the nature of the job. It's like a starter job, and people either stay with it and they either progress or they leave. They don't stick around much. And we have some of those jobs in pest control, but hopefully you're setting your companies up to where people can put some time and investment into a role, and they can progress, and they can make more money, and they can be learning additional things, and they can be proud of what they're doing. But at the end of the day, pest control doesn't have this outlook of this incredible industry. I honestly don't have anything wrong. I don't have a problem with that. Even though I talk about it a lot. I talk about it a lot because I think it's funny and interesting because of the high ceiling of this industry. And I also think it's interesting because of the amount of emails that I get from guys in the financial world offering to buy my company, begging for 15 minutes to talk about a purchase. And I ignore them and mark them as spam, every single one of them. The overall point is that because, we're dirty sometimes. We're in crawl spaces. I was talking to one of my buddies and I was planning this call, and he's like, yeah, man, let me get out of the crawl space first. How awesome is that? Because of all these things, sometimes it feels like the bug guy doesn't matter. I think it helped me to see how people treated me when I had a suit on and they asked me where I was headed. I was like, oh, I'm headed to court. Versus when I had my technician uniform on. And it was a crazy transition because one week I was practicing law downtown Phoenix going to court. And then the next I was doing pest control services. And I always say that it was the best professional move I ever made. But the overarching idea here is sometimes we feel like what we do doesn't matter. And we don't always need to be patting ourselves on the back, although I would recommend that we do so more than we currently do. Because we're, as human beings, we naturally just beat ourselves up. But here's when it matters, is during those days when things aren't going right. Those days when you, like today, for Proof Pest Control, a technician got in an accident. Everyone was safe. No one was injured, thankfully. That's always the first question. But it's still not an awesome experience. But then I think, well, what I do matters. Or when you have to let somebody go because a job is no longer needed. Those are tough days. And so I need that voice in my head saying, hey, what you do matters. Or you have a customer that is just ripping you online and says all sorts of terrible things to one of your CSRs. Even though people are saying those things and doing those things, what we do matters. I'm going to tell you who it matters to.
We're going to take a quick moment to highlight one of the premier sponsors of the Bug Bux Plus platform. Navigating the digital landscape of pest control marketing can be overwhelming, but with over 16 years of industry experience, Lizard Marketing knows exactly how to help you dominate your market and outshine the competition. Their team understands the unique challenges of the pest control industry and crafts high-impact SEO strategies, stunning website designs, and laser-focused Google Ads campaigns that don't just bring in leads, they convert them into loyal customers. Lizard Marketing believes that trust, transparency, and partnership are the foundation of success. They don't just offer marketing services. They build relationships with their clients, working side by side to help them achieve their business goals and grow with confidence. If you're a Bug Bux member, mentioning your membership unlocks exclusive savings on their services. And if you're expanding your skills through our online educational platform, you'll gain access to even greater deals to strengthen your digital presence. DM marketing to the Bug Bux Podcast Facebook page for more information, or visit lizardmarketing.co today. Mention your affiliations and claim your discounts. With Lizard Marketing's proven expertise and client-first approach, you'll adapt, evolve, and succeed. Now back to the Bug Bux Podcast.
So you, as you're driving your truck, you're in your office, maybe you're at the gym, taking a walk, whatever you're doing as you're listening to this podcast or you're watching on YouTube, you have family. You a spouse perhaps, or maybe not, a significant other perhaps, maybe not, parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, children. They're not always going to tell you. And maybe that's why I'm doing this episode, because I'm going to tell you. But what you do matters to them. I feel like a lot of times the people that are closest to us have the hardest time telling us how they feel and that they're proud of us. And you kind of hear it through the grapevine. You'll hear, yeah, you're so-and-so, your cousin was telling me how awesome your pest control company is. And you're thinking, that's funny. He's never told me that. But what you do matters to your family. Remember that. And remember that, especially if you have children, a spouse, those people that rely on you to provide for them. So that's the financial aspect. That's obvious, of course, that it matters to them what you do and that you're successful. But it's more than that, because it matters to them in a way that they're proud of you. You're doing things right now where you're setting an example. You're going for it, right? You quit your job, doing something else. The perpetual saying is that, hey, I didn't choose pest control, it chose me. But wherever you were before this position, you were working for somebody else, or you were in a different industry, and you kind of took that risk. So those people that are around you, your family specifically, what you're doing right now, it matters to them. Let me tell you another group of people that what you're doing matters to. That's your your employees and the people that rely on you for a paycheck. And maybe you're a solopreneur, you're a one-man, one-woman show at this point. That's fine. There's employees in your future. And I'm going to get to partners and vendors in a second. But those of you who do have employees or independent contractors of some sort, you matter to them. And we don't always get the gratitude we feel like we deserve. And sometimes we feel like we're not paying them as much as we should be, or we need to do better so we can pay them more, or they're requesting that we pay them more. That's true. That happens all the time. But you still matter to them, because without them, they'd probably be working somewhere else. Maybe it's not the same. Maybe they're making more. If you've ever laid somebody off, fired them, terminated a position, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Because sometimes, that saying, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. And I've unfortunately been in that position where I've had to say goodbye to people that cared so much about their job, and I didn't know it until that point came. And it didn't really change anything, but it was refreshing to know, like, hey, that job mattered to that person. Therefore, I mattered to that person, because if it weren't for me, that job wouldn't exist. If it weren't for you quitting your pest control technician job with another company and starting your current business, or your sales job with that previous company, or your admin job with that previous company and starting your current business, then the people that work for you, they wouldn't have this opportunity. So you matter to them. I'm going to tell you another group, and that's your vendors / partners. I like to call them partners, but the people that sell you stuff, whether it's software, chemicals, equipment, trucks, all these things that you need to run your business, your uniforms, your safety equipment, the people that are leasing you offices, the people that are doing your signage, all these things, you matter to them. Without you and your business, they make less money. And not just that, they don't have those relationships. We're in such a relationship-heavy industry. I just got done playing golf at the Arizona PPO event, and those relationships, like, I played with two of my partners, vendors, and it didn't even feel like business out there. So for those partners and those vendors, next time you see them, next time they make a call or send you an email, just express some appreciation. And I think you'll be surprised what happens. They should all be thanking you and letting you know that you matter to them, although they might not say it like that. But if they don't, I'm telling you that it's still a case. So we'll wrap up with this last group, which it doesn't feel like we're important to them sometimes. And that is your customer base. And a lot of times as pest control owners, and this is probably true in other industries, we feel like, hey, if I didn't exist, somebody else would do it. I don't know, maybe. But I know one thing, and that's that they wouldn't do it like you. And this incredible business that you've created from scratch, or maybe you bought it and you fixed it up, it would be different without that around. And so you matter to your customers, even though they complain, even though the technician in some cases never gets it right in their mind or their eyes. Even for the people that, don't express that appreciation. And just because you got a 1-star review, maybe today or last week, or just because you had a customer yell at you or a customer not pay their bill, there's for every one of those, hopefully, we have 95 people that do acknowledge and you know, that do express to you that you matter to them. So I just want you to know that. I don't know where you're at, what you're doing right now, where you're at with your company. I love hearing from you guys, and the group brings so much joy into my life and the interaction. And that's why I'm really doubling down with Bug Bux Plus, because of what it does for me, just does for my soul. But wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, whatever level your company's at, and for those that are even thinking about starting and you haven't yet, you matter. And if nothing else from this episode, like if I reached one person and they're like, hey man, I listened to that episode, was having a bad day, going through some stuff, and it was just a nice reminder. I knew it. I know I matter. I matter to my family. I matter to these people. I matter to my social group, my church, my community, the sports teams that I coach, my bowling league, whatever. You know it. But just because you know it doesn't mean you don't like being reminded of it, or you don't need to be reminded of it. And so I hope this resonates with you, because I'm talking to you, to the individual. And I hope this gives you just a little bit of motivation to remind yourself that you matter. I sure put a lot of effort into convincing you that you do, because I just know that's the case. So have an awesome day. That thing that you're wanting to go for, those higher numbers, hiring the technician before you feel like you're ready, having those difficult conversations with people that owe you money, or people that maybe you need to spend a little less time with. I hope this gives you that motivation to do that. That's why I put this episode together. That's what's on my heart right now. You matter. I matter. And I hope that does something for you next time you encounter a struggle, which is going to be really soon. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the struggle for both you and me. So you matter. Have an awesome day. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bug Bux Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please show your support by subscribing and leaving us an honest 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, and we'll catch you on the next episode.